When my mother passed away, I looked for something that can actually heal me, something that I can actually do that will cease the pain or actually help the pain that I was going through. And I thought, you know what, a relationship is something that can actually work. I looked for someone and I wanted someone actually that can stand in the gap, that can actually listen to me, you know, looking at what I have been through. I needed someone that could at least understand me and know what I was going through and at least hear me out. And this was my reason for committing. The question is, are we committing for the right reasons in any relationship that we get into? And is it the right foundations that we set for our relationship? My name is Trish Waboraro, and come on, let's talk. I'm not alone today. I'm joined by Pulefela Siele. He's a pastor and a marriage counselor, and I'm joined by Kgaolatli Kolobetso. And we're going to be talking about this today. Now tell me, are we committing for the same reasons or for the right reasons?
Well, there are some people who are committing for the right reasons, but at the same time, there are a good number of people who are committing for the wrong reasons. As you have outlined earlier on, some people commit just to medicate.
Very true.
To medicate a hurt
Yeah.
in the past relationship. Some for economic reasons, some just for fun, some just for sex.
True.
And those are not
True.
the right reasons. The right reason should be love
Yeah.
and true commitment, actually.
And you're right when you say just for sex, because one of the things that I know that especially in the Christian circle, we commit so much so fast, not because we know what we are getting ourselves into, but because like Murutu would be hammering us for sleeping together before we get married. So those are one of the reasons.
Yes.
But there is a medication that especially in the Christian world, I don't know what else is called outside, the idea of courtship. I know right now we haven't been taught this courtship thing correctly, and for us it honestly looks like we just want, it's just a rule that Muruti gives us so that we stay away from sleeping with each other. But what exactly is courtship, and is it a remedy for this non-commitment that we are seeing going on?
Well, I will try to give a general, definition of courtship.
Yes.
That it will be a period between the time when the two people have agreed that they love each other to the time when they get into marriage legally. And between those 2 points, there is need for people to sit down under a counselor to talk to them and help them to ask each other questions.
True.
More especially in terms of their commitment. You ask them questions. Do you really love this person?
Yeah.
Why do you want to get married to this person? Are you aware of 1, 2, 3, or 4? Are you aware of the characters of that person?
Yeah.
Are you aware of the things he has or he doesn't have, or she has or she doesn't have? And during that time, it is a time where now people who are committing should allow themselves to go through counseling.
Yes.
And it is through that counseling that a lot of questions will be answered. And if somebody realizes they are not committing for the right reason, then it will be good not to go further.
To go further. Very
Thank
true.
you.
Very true. Kolobetso, from experience maybe,
Yes.
if I have to say, have you had an instance where you thought, okay, I got in but I didn't commit well, I didn't have the right reasons for committing?
To be honest with you, I respect marriage and I respect relationships.
True.
What is important, I always tell people that, there are 5 pillars in a
Yes.
relationship or in a
Yes.
marriage. That's honest, trust, respect, love, and faithfulness. So if those things are not there, then it means, there will be some things at times.
Some issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm somebody who okay, fine, who believes so much in love. If people can know what love is, then commit themselves. I think that's where, we'll avoid so many things. In my case, I fought for my marriage as a woman, and somehow I lost the battle because I felt I was just fighting alone. My husband was totally out. So that's how I lost the battle. Though I loved him, I was pushed to do it. because I thought maybe I'm looking for happiness somewhere. I thought maybe by doing this, maybe I'll find peace within myself and heal with time. But really, you know, it's not something that is easy to handle. It's something that, you know, it takes some time to forget about.
Yeah.
And I can just encourage people to work on their marriages, to work on their relationships. And, you know, what is important is the commitment.
Yeah.
Give your spouse, give your partner time. Learn to listen to what they're saying. If they're complaining, if there's something's wrong, try to commit yourself.
Yeah. And you're saying a very important thing about giving each other time.
Yes.
Now, do you think we should give each other time before marriage or in marriage?
We should give each other time before marriage and after marriage. Because if you don't give someone time before marriage, it means even in marriage you won't give that person time.
Yeah.
Time is very important, because once you don't give your spouse or your partner time, it means that person is lonely. Once you get lonely, you are going to go out, and you will find someone who will, like, you know,
fill the void.
Yes,
and
who will fill the
void.
gap.
Yeah.
So actually, I just feel like, you know, we need to commit to each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm interested in this, we'll call it courtship in a general way, courtship. And I'm interested in knowing whether or not, is this a no sex before marriage rule? Or is it just, is it the only purpose that we do that? I know you did mention, you know, the benefits of everything, but we look at it and we say, most of the time we don't want to call it courtship because we think it's a no sex before marriage rule. Is it that?
No, and a big no. Courtship in the Christian sense, there should be no sex prior to marriage.
Yes.
But that is not the only thing that we do at that time. We sit down with somebody, we help people to really see if whatever is moving them is love or infatuation or just emotions or just excitement. We try to settle down the emotions.
Yeah.
That out of that period, somebody is sure that they truly love each other. And in addition to that, we try to take them through our backgrounds, family backgrounds. Are you ready for that family background to live with it? We talk to them about finances.
Yes.
How are you going to handle finances? Maybe somebody was too independent that they don't want to share. If you don't want to share, don't go into marriage.
Very true, very true.
We also talk about children. That is parenting.
Yeah.
Are you ready for that? And also to make them aware that you might get a child, you may not get a child in marriage.
Sure.
Would you still
The
stay
reality of it.
in marriage?
Yes.
So we bring all these realities before somebody during that time. So that's why it's important that during the period you have somebody talking to you. The only problem is a lot of people believe that love is a new discovery and they have discovered it and
they have
therefore
fallen
nobody
into
else
it.
can speak to them. They understand it. But
Yeah.
love is not new. It's very
Interesting.
old.
Yeah.
Yes.
So whenever somebody falls into love, it is not like they're doing a new thing.
Not a revelation.
It's not a revelation. So therefore, people need to realize that even when you feel that strong with your love, it is something that
And
people
I
have
must
gone
say
through.
that, you know, with our generation, we actually we are more emotion driven more than anything else.
Yes.
The falling in love that you're talking about is the emotional part of things, and we don't go into these nitty-gritty things that Moritu talks about. What's the importance, or how much do we need to know each other before we commit to the extent of marriage? Kolobet.
It's very important to know your partner. You can know your partner, like you can know him, you can know his strength, his weaknesses. But you know, I can tell you, people change with time. Sometimes you will think you know someone. You know, things can happen.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. But it's very important that you know your partner. You know his weaknesses, you know his strength, and you know him. But it's very important. But people change with time. Yes,
She's
that is
saying
what I'm
something. She
saying.
says
Yes.
something very important. Things happen with time.
Yes.
What should we do, Moruti, when things happen with time and you have already committed in marriage?
All right, let me go a little bit 2 steps back.
Not a problem. Not a
That,
problem.
you know, prior to marriage, it is almost impossible to know somebody fully.
Yeah.
We must accept that. Counseling helps you to know a bit more.
Okay.
Most people say you will never know more
Somebody
than
fully.
50% of the person
True.
until you get into marriage. So counseling helps us to say, for sure, because in a relationship there's a lot of sacrifice that
Yeah.
people do. But when we get into marriage, there is no time for sacrifice. It is time for reality.
Wow. That's
And therefore, if I was blue and I appeared to be purple, when I get
Wow.
into marriage,
The blue
the
comes
blue
out.
color will come out.
wow.
Therefore, normally they say men always think women will not change, but women always think men will change, but they never
Oh
do.
yeah, that's always the truth.
So now, there are certain changes that we can manage within marriage. Actually,
Okay.
counseling helps us to manage the changes or to talk about expected changes in a human being,
that's
both in a man and also in a woman. There are certain things that will change, but there are certain things which are basic, which if a person changes in those,
So you would
then
actually
life
say,
becomes very, very tough.
so you'd actually say that it's important to even keep the counseling in marriage. Not that there's anything wrong with the marriage, but to keep tab with the marriage.
Thank you very much. Exactly. So that as things unfold,
Yes.
you can always say, I always thought the color was blue, but it looks like it's purple.
Yeah.
And then you sit down, you say, no, now we are discovering the real color. So how do we deal and manage with this real color? The only challenge is people get excited. Once they have crossed the bridge, they run away from the counselors.
Wow.
They are gone for good.
Wow.
And that's why sometimes they can't manage it. It becomes too heavy because it's only those 2 people.
Wow. Let me take this time to thank you both for joining us today. And as you are joining us, thank you so much. My name is Trish Waboraro, and this is Come On, Let's Talk.